everybody, it's Cama, founder of TBTC, and in this video what I'm going to be doing is interviewing an athlete named Andrew Papadopolous. Before I talk a little bit about who he is and what he's all about, I really want to just take the time to explain to you all what you're going to get from this video. So one of the things that I'm a big believer in is that success leaves clues. And what I believe in is finding out what are the strategies that someone who is successful in the area of fitness or in all areas of life, and finding out what are the strategies that they're following. So then that way you can be able to find out the strategies and get the exact same results but in half the time. So what I'm going to be focusing on today is finding out what are the strategies that Pap is following. What are the outer strategies and also the inner strategies? Meaning, how is he training, how is he sleeping, how is he eating, all those type of things. And also I'm going to be focusing on the inner strategy as well, the psychology behind getting the results that he does. So with that said, who is Andrew? Andrew is the founder of Battlefield Australia, which is an outdoor boot camp on the Central Coast in New South Wales. And also, the great thing about Battlefield is that he has a motto that he really preaches, and it's something that he lives by as well, which is to fight your limits. And it's definitely evident in his own life that he does this because he's a psycho with his training. So one of the couple of things that he's done to, I guess, live by that mantra that he has is just recently he done the Big Red Run, which was in the Simpson Desert. And you may be thinking, like, how long is that? It wasn't, 40 kilometers, 80 kilometers, 90 kilometers. It was 250 kilometers long. And was it over 7 days time?
5 days.
Over 5 days time to run 250 kilometers. He did the Dakota Trail just recently. How long was that one?
That was 96 kilometers with a 40 kilo backpack.
There you go. He's done things like the 48-hour run. He's done things, a 100-kilometer run. He is a skins athlete, an ambassador of Ice Sports, Garmin, and Anchor as well. So he's done a lot. He knows a lot about training. He's an athlete and also an athlete of the mind. So with that said, welcome, Andrew.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having us. And
no worries.
Hello, everybody.
So one of the first things that I really want to be able to find out with you is you were also in the military for 1 year as well. And with that, I'm sure that you got a lot of principles from that, from being in the military. So what are some of the principles that you've learned from there, and how has that affected your training?
Yeah, of course. Well, I finished high school, year 12, so I was 18 years old, and being young, you're impressionable, and I wasn't sure where I wanted to go. I got good grades, I studied hard, I was into fitness at the time. I knew I had a strong mind back then, but it wasn't truly tested, you could say. A few of my friends joined up a gap year program, which essentially is 1 year in the army. It's a try before you buy scheme. So if you decide you want to stay on, you can further on with another 4 or 6 years, or you can just leave after 1 year. So I ended up joining up for the 1 year, and I was a rifleman, so I was infantry, so I was front line, all the real army iconic things you'd think of in the military. A very boys club, you get pushed, and I found out a lot about myself. I found out about my character, how far I can push myself, who I am under extreme duress, like sleep deprivation exercises, days and days of just intense training and doing things that you wouldn't normally do in a normal civilian world. So that was a 1 year opportunity. I was encouraged to continue on and endeavour to enhance my skills and go into different corps and special forces and all that stuff, all these exciting things. But I decided to step away from it because I felt like I had an urge that I wanted to see what the rest of the world was. See, I was only 19 when I had the decision whether to stay in or not. I had a few friends that were staying. I made a lot of best mates at the time who were staying in, but decided to go against that and see what else was out there for me.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. And I'm sure that you would have got a lot of discipline from like learning a lot about discipline, yeah?
Absolutely, and that's something they have to instill in you, because at the end of the day, when bullets start flying and things aren't going the right way, you've got to be able to be thinking. If you stop thinking, it's all second nature, and you got to think, okay, what do I need to do? This is what I need to do. It needs to be instinctual. And so you learn that through constant discipline, and that's something, and an ethos that I've taken through with my own outdoor training business, that when someone at the boot camp is talking, when I'm talking, and talking when someone else is talking, or they're doing something they're not meant to be doing, and they're not acting in a sense of urgency, they're just walking around, if someone's doing something wrong, then they'll be punished in physical sort of in a physical manner, burpees and running or stuff like that. And it's not only the individual that gets punished, but the team. So you start with having a team sort of environment where you're accountable to other people, and I think that's really important because people do get used to just giving up and knowing the only people that are really disappointing is themselves. And people are used to living like by that. But I feel that, you know, people put on a front, people put on a show, people go on that extra mile when someone's looking at them, when the teacher's looking over their shoulder, when the PT is looking at them, they'll put that bit of extra effort in because they're not only accountable to themselves, they're accountable to someone else. So having that mentality in training, saying if I stuff up, if I slow down, if I don't put the effort in that I should be, my whole teammate, all my teammates, everyone in this camp will be suffering for it. So I believe that that way everyone delivers 100%, so they can deliver, and it builds that camaraderie that needs to happen for everyone to push themselves.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, if you don't know, that's how I found out about Pap. I'm actually a part of his Battle Fit bootcamp right now.
He kills it.
Yeah,
does a good job.
And one of the things I always see that on your logo is the 5 year limit. So tell me a little bit about how you came up with that mantra, and what does that really mean?
Yeah, 5 year limits. I thought it was something fantastic mantra to have because it permeates not just, it's relative not just physically but mentally, and it's not just relative for your elite athlete but also your novice beginners. You know, with Battle Fit we have a large array of fitness levels. You know, we've got some people who are fit and experienced like Matt, and we have some beginners, and you know, I might give them the same exercise or the same drills and they'll perform at different levels. Matt might get 100 push-ups out, someone might get only 15, but they both went to their maximum capability and they're both essentially fighting their limits. And to create an environment where everyone knows they're at different levels, but everyone knows that everyone's pushing 100% and everyone's supportive of that, that's what the key is. The Army instilled that sort of sense of fighting the limits, always providing your best, and you know, if you've got a weakness, work on it. And like you were saying before, you had a great concept. It's not only just the physical realm that will affect your performance, but also the mental, psychological realm. And you know, I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot of personal experiences in my life where you have to be psychologically sound and you have to be sure of who you are and what your purpose is and why things happen, and if you can fight that battle on all fronts, both psychological and also physical, then you'll succeed. And that's really it all starts mentally. And it also combines with, you know, how much heart you've got, how much mind power you've got, and then just following that through with the action.
Yeah, and that's definitely true. Like how you say, it's like all mentally. Because like I was saying before, where there's like the outer strategies and inner strategies. I guess if you don't have those inner strategies, like the foundation of a strong psychology, discipline, strong habits, then the outer strategies aren't really going to take place.
That's right. They've got, like I said, they have a foundation. They'll just crumble when shit hits the fan, so to speak. Yeah,
that's it. And one of the things like I want to talk about is the Big Red Run, 250 kilometers. You know, that's what I believe is that. I'm sure, I don't know if you're crazy or not, but there's not many people just go on that for, you know, just for fun. I believe that there is a purpose behind, when someone does something, there's a big purpose behind it. And I want to know, what was the big reason why you did the Big Red Run, and also the Kokoda Trail as well?
Okay, yeah, so I was initially on a television show called Search for Hurt, and you know, I've had a lot of experience with, you know, athletics, explosive sort of fitness and strength training, but Search for Hurt got me out of my comfort zone and took me into ultra endurance and large volume of work that I wasn't used to, taking your body places that, you know, you need to train for it to succeed. And that there, like I was lucky enough I got into the finals. So they had a video audition. I put my video in. They accepted us. I was one of 6 guys, and there were 6 girls, and 12 of us had to go through a 24-hour hurt camp. So that's a gym where we're getting beasted for 24 hours. So you know, we had 21-kilometer row, 100-kilometer on the bike, 42 kilometers on the run, and we do half an hour of each apparatus, and then we got smashed with a certain workout. So the first one, for instance, was 100 box jump burpees for time. And if you can't get a particular time, then you fail. If you do get a particular time, you might get maybe 500 meters taken off your rower. Or another example is if you burn the most calories on the bike in half an hour, you get, you know, an extra reward. So the intensity was always there, and I was up against really fit guys. There was one guy in particular who was a lot fitter than me, and he was you know, made for ultra endurance, and I was cramping up in the first couple of hours, and I wasn't the candidate that you would have chose purely out of performance. You know, I got the job done, I did a good job of it, but you could see that these guys, the smaller guys, were definitely the whippersnappers that were still going. They picked me, and I was lucky I got picked. They picked me because I just didn't stop. You know, I was cramping. There was a moment where I had a couple of, I think, 5 kilometers left on the rower. I couldn't bend my legs, otherwise they would cramp. And so I just did back extensions the whole time. And they're like, you can stop, you can roll it. I'm like, I'm not stopping. I'm gonna keep going. Like, I'm not gonna show any form of weakness. My body will give up, and my mind will keep going. And that was shown multiple times. And they said to themselves when they were seeing this, that this is the guy. And we want to film a guy that's not going to come first in every event, but is going to give it everything he has, and will, you know, you'll see him go through the pain. Yeah. And that's what the show was all about, was finding that hurt. So I had the opportunity to continue from there and do a 100-kilometer run in the Blue Mountains, 24-hour mountain bike, 48-hour adventure race, triathlons, all this different stuff that took me out of my comfort zone, that required me to learn new skill sets, new training programs, speak to world-class athletes and sporting teams, and learn a lot. I got hooked onto this feeling of giving yourself a huge objective, something that's so uncomfortable that when you think from here to then, it's impossible. Yeah. But you work your way, you get it done, and you succeed, and you just have this high. So after Search for Her, I did 10 months there, I was laying myself out challenges, and you know, I was very busy with work and doing other projects, but I still wanted to have these physical challenges, and I wanted to be a trainer that people could say, my trainer's just done this, or my trainer, it's not all talk, he pushes himself as well. I can't ever demand 110% from my clients and tell them to push, push, push and fight the limits if I'm not doing the same. Yeah. And for me, that might be a 250-kilometer run or something stupid like that. So if I can lead by example, I think that's very important, and if I can inspire others to think, you know what, I'm not the best runner in the world, but I still gave it a shot, and then now I see other people wanting to do the 250-kilometer run, and it's an amazing thing.
I want to do the 250 right now.
That's great.
Yeah,
it's
great.
Good, and it was such a wonderful experience to meet these people. It was all for raising money to find a cure for type 1 diabetes, and you know, like you said, it all has purpose. Yeah. And it's the kind of thing where that fight your limits mantra comes into account. Like, it might be every step, you might be thinking, I just want to give up. My feet are sore, got blisters. There's a million flies in me. I'm feeling dehydrated. My muscles are cramping. And something I tell Matt and all the other Battlefield clients is that stop feeling sorry for yourself. Everyone else is going through the same pain right now.
I hear that about 10 times every single second.
Which is very important. And there's that many people in the world, a countless amount of people in the world who have it harder than you, who are fighting an uphill battle, who were born in particular ways that they can't, they have things that happen to them that they can't change, and they're still making, you know, they're still doing the best that they can do. And it is all relative. We live in a first world country where we think, you know, just because we get to eat and drink every day and our necessities are taken care of, we should be super happy. We've got problems as well that are relative to our life, but you do get that culture shock. And when I did go to Papua New Guinea and did the Kokoda track, some of the locals there, you know, they were beautiful. They had nothing, absolutely nothing. They had like one pair of shorts, which they'd play out the rest of the whole life. But they had that sense of community. They were working off the land. You know, it was really pure, and they were really happy. And then that was on the track in the mountains, and then you moved to the city, and it was slums, it was drugs, there was, you know, a lot of criminal activity. It was very, you know, it was a dangerous area, and there's a lot of sad people, and a lot of, you know, it was you could see that. I don't know, there was something to be learned from that, and I did learn a lot. And I know I've been talking a lot, but the Kokoda track was because I started a charity called Trek for Vets. Yeah. And so Dean and I, co-founder, he's also a Battlefield member. We both served in the military. Dean served for 9 years, and I've lost mates and he's lost mates due to suicide and just being killed in combat. And so we're starting a charity that's going to bring awareness of suicide in the Defence Force, and also get homeless veterans off the streets. And us walking the track with the 42 kilos on our back, and you know, was a sign of this is what we're doing, we're serious about it, who wants to jump in with us. And we've got all these strategies and plans and projects to get other people involved. You don't have to do anything crazy, you don't have to come overseas and put a backpack on and scale a mountain, but there's plenty of other ways to be involved, plenty of other ways we can get help, and I think just bringing awareness to Australia in general is going to help out.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end, we'll definitely leave a link and tell you where people can learn a little bit about that as well. Back to Search for Her. The 24-hour event, you won that one, right?
Yeah, so I was selected as the person to go through, the male, and there's also a female.
Yeah.
So there was competitions, and I did come first in a few of them. But at the end of the day, they were looking for someone that they thought ticked a lot of boxes. So like, were fit enough to get through the series, who were charismatic on camera, well-spoken, I guess, and someone that was going to hurt. Yeah, and that was me.
And that was, so I think that's the very big difference between like you and most people is that, and you were, from what I was reading, you know, you weren't the most experienced endurance athlete there, but you still was able to get through based upon, you know, your mindset. And I think that, like I was mentioning before, I believe where all the difference is made is in the psychology, the mental strength.
Yeah.
And with you, what do you think is the main difference between like you achieving all these amazing things that you do and that keeps you going, and just most people? What do you think is the difference?
It's definitely backing yourself up and believing in yourself.
Yeah.
I arrived to the Hurt camp and looked at the guys and girls that were there, heard about the things that they've achieved, and instantly I could have said to myself, they're on a different level, I better go home.
Yeah.
You know. But it's about backing yourself up. It's about self-belief. It's about knowing that there will be an end to whatever adversity you come faced with.
Yeah.
And I got through the 24 hours with saying to myself constantly, one task at a time, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
You don't look at the overall picture, it can be overwhelming. So if I can do this task as best as I can to my abilities, that's what I'm going to do. And then you get there and you do a good job, and then you're faced with another one, I'm going to do it again. And you know, you get dealt with bad cards in life, but you just got to understand the best way to get through them and get around them and make it work.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a lot of people, because you know, a big percentage of people who watch these videos, they're all looking to lose weight. And some of the things that happens is that a lot of people set themselves these big goals to lose like 20 kilograms.
Yeah.
We'll talk about goals in a second,
Yeah.
but they lose like 20 kilograms within, say, 6 months' time, and they can get kind of overwhelmed by that long distance. And I think it's good to learn from that, to break things down instead of a 6-month goal, to set a monthly goal or like a weekly goal. To like, like you said, one step at a time.
Yeah, break things down. You've got a goal that's, you know, I've got goals that are 2017, 2020, and it's only 2015. And so what I like to think is like, what do I want to do? Where do I want to be? What do I love to do? Set yourself some big goals that you think that's fantastic, but there's definitely some stepping stones that need to be done, and then so you work back from that. And then you work back to where you are, and that can come down to day-to-day thing, to week, to month, to year. You've got a checklist of like, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, and this needs to happen. So it is to be goal orientated. It is a strategy.
Yeah.
But the first thing is first you got to believe in yourself, and you got to learn from everyone you can. You got to take, like you're doing today. You're talking to me about this, and you're talking to all these people, and these people are listening to you, and they're going to tell their friends. You've got to network and talk to people that are going to add something to your life, and that are going to support you, and they're going to share your vision. And when you start to find any sort of success, you start to see a bit of resistance from your surrounding element of people that you're used to being with. They either start to get jealous, or they start to bring you down, or they start to reflect on themselves. I know for me, if I go to a wedding or something, and I see the bride and groom having an awesome time, the wedding's beautiful, and I think to myself, I'm lonely, I'm single. And I'm doing this self-reflection. Why am I pitying myself when I've got 2 great friends that they're getting married? And I find that people do that sometimes with themselves. They're like, oh, this person's done this and that. Well, I'm doing nothing. I don't know where I want to be. I don't know what I want to do. And they give this negative energy. And you want to try to change that perspective. You want to try to surround yourself with people who are constantly feeding each other with support, and in that way, you know, there's no way to lose if you've got a huge supportive network. I think it's the best thing to do.
And speaking on that, hey, we just talk about like I guess the whole comparing thing is, you know, just recently I went to one of our trainers at our boot camp. She was competing for a fitness model, and I walked in there and I just seen like all these amazing physiques, And then as I was there for the good 2 hours, I walked out, looked at myself in the mirror, and I just didn't feel the same. I was like, shit, I look disgusting right now compared to all them. And I was speaking to you just last week. We did a fitness test just down here actually, and I was talking about the whole the way that you set goals. And you were saying that you don't really focus on the aesthetic side of things. You mainly focus on something else. So tell me a little bit about when you set yourself a goal. How do you do that, and why do you do it?
Yeah, so like you're saying, it's people want to look like something, and their goal might be aesthetics.
Yeah.
But with that, you can develop an unhealthy relationship in a lot of different ways. With your food, your sleep, your recovery, just your attitude, everything. So if you keep looking in the mirror every morning, can't see all the changes, it's not happening, you get engulfed in just negative thinking, and it can be the unhealthy. You can go the unhealthy way about it. You can either lose weight dramatically by not eating correctly or overtraining or stressing your body in unnecessary ways. But I find that for me, that works really well for me, was to focus on performance.
Yeah.
So I wanted to strive to be a better runner. I wanted to do more push-ups. I wanted to work hard. I want to lift more. I want to be stronger. I wanted to be more agile. And I found that working on all those aspects and working on something that's measurable and staying consistent with it, everything else was following suit. There's no way that I'm going to beat my PB in my lifts or my runs if I'm not eating correctly, if my supplementation's out of balance, if I'm not getting my sleep, if I'm not mentally focused, if I'm not consistently keeping up correct training.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's focus on performance and get all those things will follow suit. And that's what I'm teaching many clients, even females that come to me who have a history of anorexia or bulimia, to develop a healthier relationship with food. I go for a run with them, and they can't keep up with me up a hill because they've got no leg muscle, because they're just not providing the body with the correct food. I said, if you want to keep up, if you want to run better, if you want to perform better, you're going to have to start eating better. And you start to change the dynamic and change the way their thought and their process of thinking with food.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing, especially when you're trying to lose weight, so much weight.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense for you to, keep up a certain amount of calorie intake when you think, oh, if I eat less, I'm sure I'll lose more.
Yeah. Right.
So it's a very funny thing, and we've all developed, including myself, developed bad habits. And there's that much junk food and that much mixed marketing, and this is good for you, this is good for you, and all these yo-yo fad diets. It's just to get through to the good stuff. I mean, keep it simple, keep it suitable for yourself, and listen to others that have their genuine interest in you succeeding. Not just making money and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's a very important concept to really, I guess, grasp, because he's not really focusing on aesthetics, but still you're gaining aesthetics by focusing on something else, and that's just a byproduct of, if someone's out there wanting to lose weight or tone up, which is mostly just the women, by focusing on performance, the byproduct of focusing on performance will be that slim, toned look that most girls usually want, and guys if they want to get that big, bulky, athletic look. So that's a really important thing to really, important concept to, and I've been doing that myself. Just recently I went on a 13-kilometer run and I haven't done that for ages, simply because of what you mentioned. You said, I don't really focus on the looks, I'm just focusing on performance, being fitter, and you're able to still get that result. Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. You tailor your training towards, if I wanted to be the best ultra endurance runner in the world, I'm not going to be muscular and big and have that sort of beach body look. I'm going to be a scrawny, small, tiny guy.
Yeah.
So it is, you've got to be realistic with what your pursuits are. My pursuit is to sustain strength, still have speed and endurance, and to have all those things, you've got to have a bit of everything.
Yeah.
You've got to have a bit of strength. You're going to require some muscle and some mass. You've got to be able to run for a long distance, so you're going to have, you're going to have a leaner look, because you're just always churning through calories. So, and for females as well, you want to look at, your walking, your jogs, your weightlifting, eating properly. You've got to have all those things under wraps, and then everything else will start following suit. And I think, Matt, one of the biggest things I've learned from clients is being honest with yourself. There's many people I speak to who say, you know what, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight. I've been looking like this for 6 months, and I've been eating healthy, and I've been training, and la-di-da-di-da, and you think, let's be honest, if you were eating healthy and if you were training this 6 months, you would have lost something. Yeah, unless you've got some dramatic, huge implication physically with your health or something, which I know you don't. There's a reason for this, and I think because people place so much pressure on themselves from A to B, like you said, like you want to lose 20 kilos in 6 months. It's a lot of pressure, and you're right from there. You're taking away. I can't eat junk food. I can't go to bed here this time. I've got to exercise. I can't do this. I've got other commitments. All this pressure, and so I think to be realistic is another huge aspect you got to take control of. Is okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to start taking this out first on my diet. I'll stop having takeout. Yeah. Okay. I might reward myself with maybe one takeout meal a week. It's just something that's realistic. It's got to be something that's you've got longevity with. And you don't hit that 6 month goal. Lose your 20 kilos, like bang, I'm good. All right, where's KFC? Let's go. And you know that, and everyone should know that. So if you stick to something that has purpose, it's realistic, you be honest with yourself. You make a mistake, you own up to that mistake. You be accountable to somebody, not just yourself. I can lie to myself and go, today I did go for a 21k run, instead I did a 5, but it doesn't matter, I'll just still think I did a 21. And then when the time comes, I've got to do a 21k run, I'm only conditioned to do a 5k run. But if I was accountable to someone would kick me up the arse and said, well, tomorrow you're going to do a 21k run. So I think that's important.
Definitely. Last 2 questions. First one, throughout your daily ritual, what would you know? First question. How do you start your day? Tell me a bit about that.
Okay, so I'm an early riser. I like to get up before the sun, and that's achieved by going to bed at a reasonable time, which realistically sometimes doesn't happen. So I get up early. I always have a glass of water by my bedside table. Drink a glass of water, and I've got like a mobility sort of training set routine I've got. It's about 10 minutes. Which allows me to open everything up, take deep breaths, kind of wake my body up, let everything know that it's time to get up and go. And as I do that, I think about what I want to achieve today and why I'm achieving today, and how to be a better person. Look at my weaknesses and things that I feel I have like shortcomings, and I'm trying to find ways around that. And just taking those big deep breaths, having that quiet time. No one's really up around 4:30, 5 in the morning. You're by yourself. You're in a comfortable environment. I find that starts me off in the right direction. And whether you go straight for a training run or you go straight into a meal to get ready to meet your clients or anything like that, if you just start it off right and then just one step after the other. Like for instance, I know that if I have a really good workout, I don't want to eat shit food afterwards. And if you have healthy food, you're like, I want to train. So it's all about creating those right patterns from the very start. And if you wake up, slept in, and you missed your training workout and you're busy to go to work, so you just grab something that's just easy to eat, it's not so good for you, then you've already started off bad. Your body's like, what's going on? You haven't even brushed your teeth, like sort your life out, and that took time to fix up. So my morning routine is always that first half an hour. I think is really important.
Yeah, definitely. I agree, because I always say that the way that you start your day determines how you go throughout your day. The 2 most important things that I believe is like the morning and how you end the day, because how you end the day determines how you wake up and go throughout your morning. So I think that's the biggest 2 things. So last question, what do you think is the biggest thing that will contribute towards someone transforming the body? What do you reckon is the one thing? I'm sure there's many things. What do you think is the one thing that determines whether someone gets results or someone doesn't get results?
I think it's what motivates them to get those results. So your motivation, where does it derive from? People are motivated from so many different ways. You can be motivated from your parents always telling you you've got to be an achiever, you've got to be an achiever, or second place is the first loser, and all this stuff. And that's when you've got this unrealistic sort of angle on what you're trying to achieve. That's when people can just break down, give up, lose hope. Or if they do slip up once, which is completely normal, that it's all over, baby, it's done. So I think what your true motivation lies, where your motivation lies with what you want to achieve is key. And if that's something that has honesty in it, because you want to have a better quality of life, because you want to be able to help others. If you've got some selfless or genuine motivation behind it, you'll just keep going, no matter if you slip and fall.
The last question, where can people find more about you? Where can they go to?
Well, the website at the moment is being developed. I'm going to have blogs on there, I'll have some training content, more about what I'm doing at the moment with some online releases and stuff like that. It's andrewpap.com, and that's, like I said, the development should be out in hopefully a couple of weeks. We also have trekforvets.org. There you can find out how to get involved, what we're doing, what our mission is, and more information there. And I also have some social media with Facebook, Andrew Papadopolous, or Battlefield Australia. Instagram is, I guess, the links below, which is Andrew_Pap_. So it all just shows what I'm up to, what's coming up, and just if you want to see me on your daily feed, I guess, just jump on, and hopefully, I can help out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for that. First, before we end, I want you to leave a comment below and just leave one thing that you got from this interview. What's one thing that you learned either on the inner strategies, the psychology behind transforming your body, the psychology behind success, or maybe it was an outer strategy that really stood out for you. So go ahead, leave a comment below. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, and until I see you in the next video, remember to love all living things, and most importantly, love thyself. Done.